Welcome back, Mushroom Man Toad here, is a sound you should have been hearing on March 21st. But, as the title of this video suggests, between then and now, I have had a critical hard drive failure. And I think the story of getting my computer back into working order is good enough to make a video about it. Like, if you like stories where it is just a string of, oh, that's unfortunate, kind of events with, some heavy foreshadowing mixed in, then stick around for this. You'll like this one. That said, I don't actually have this thing scripted. I have a list of bullet points in front of me, and I'm just going to kind of tell the story as it went. So, I don't know how long it's going to be, but let's just hop right into it. So, this story begins all the way back in early December of last year. I got a new computer. Very nice gaming computer. I've been extremely happy with it, the whole time I've had it. It's been awesome. So, in early January, and trust me, this is relevant to the story. In early January, I had this dual credit course that opened up on January 1st. Dual credit is basically I can take a college credit, like, now, and get the credit for college and also for high school, and it helps, with scholarships and all that kind of stuff. Great thing. And I had this dual credit open January 1st, but the first assignment wasn't actually due until, like, January 8th or something. And I said, oh, I can work ahead on this. Thinking about, how last year it had put me through a ton of stress. The reason I hadn't been making as many videos was mainly because I was spending so much time on this course, and it's just like, okay, this is taking all of my time, and if I work ahead, this is going to be great, right? That was what I thought. Well, I worked ahead, got a week ahead in it, like exactly a week ahead, and next week, I was so sick I couldn't get up off of the couch. I mean, it was awful. I was horrendously sick. By the time I was able to finally move and think straight again, go back to school kind of a thing, I was exactly caught up with where I had worked ahead with this dual credit course. Okay, so with that little story in mind, some heavy foreshadowing there, let's fast forward to March. On March 19th, I made what I think is an interesting contraption to generate my NCAA bracket, and I recorded a video on it. And that night, while editing, and again, trust me, this is relevant, I was listening to a certain podcast, and the last topic that I listened to on this podcast before I went to bed was they were talking about coincidences. Also, they were sponsored by a certain well-known cloud-based computer backup service. There's heavy foreshadowing here. Just before going to bed that night, I was explaining to my mom why I had really begun to think that cloud-based backup was important for me to get. Just to add to this story, this happened the night before the disaster. So on March 20th, I finished editing the video early that morning and set it to render while I went to school. Now for various reasons, a whole bunch of trips and stuff, I was the only one in my class at school that day. So I basically had a 7-hour study hall, and the only thing I could work on was my dual credit. So I did. Now we had just started chapter 9 in this class, and I was able to complete over half of the whole chapter that day. Got home, and the hard drive on my computer was dead. Because on my screen there was just a bunch of command prompty looking things, and the last one was insert proper boot device. And I was like, oh boy, this isn't going to be good. So I contacted my local computer repair guy, and he said to contact the company that built the PC, see if they had, some warranty thing. If I'd only had the computer for 3 months, I could probably get this fixed. So I tried that, and their telephone line was busy, of course, for 3 hours. Finally got a call back from customer service towards the closing of their business hours. They had me check a couple things. In the end, we decided that my C drive had indeed died. Now, don't worry, this isn't as bad as you might think. It's not like I lost everything. Most of my data, like my mod, my new album that is almost ready to come out, and my Minecraft worlds, anything else of importance, that was all saved to my D drive, which we didn't think had corrupted, because the odds of both drives corrupting at the same time is just, it's non-existent, basically. So, we decided that it's probably just the C drive. My data is still on that computer. That video I had rendered is probably still on that computer, and I would just have to get my C drive fixed. Now, their customer support at this company was great. They said they would ship me a brand new C drive as soon as they got one, that was formatted with Windows and such. They'd ship it to me. All I'd have to do is ship back the broken one. They'd even walk me through the process of installing the new drive when I received it, because, I'm not that good at computer hardware. I'm more of a programming kind of guy. I thought this was great. I'd have my computer back in a couple of days, no problem. heavy foreshadowing, that didn't happen. So I didn't hear back from them for a while. So next Wednesday, so now we're a week later, finally emailed them back asking, hey, what's going on? Well, as it turned out, the guy at their company who does the formatting of these drives, installing Windows and all that, had been sick with the flu for the past week and was finally back at work that day. They'd ship off the drive first thing Thursday morning. Let me just check my calendar here. That would have been Thursday the 28th. So the drive finally arrives on Monday, April 1st, thanks to that pesky weekend being in there, stopping the postal service from running or something like that. And I thought, hey, this is great. I'll get this hooked up, maybe even still get out an April Fool's video. I hate to miss that. Now, just before I go any farther with how the installation of this goes, a little bit more heavy foreshadowing. On screen now is an image of the back of my PC. There are two places my monitor cord will fit. This one and this one. This one works. This one doesn't. So we got back on the phone with customer service and went through the process of taking out the old drive and putting in the new one. They were super patient, super helpful. It was great. Turned on the computer and nothing came up on the monitor. Remember that heavy foreshadowing? Yeah, guess why. So after troubleshooting for a bit, we decided to restart the computer to see if that fixed it. And shortly after that, we realized the cord was just in the wrong slot. So we plugged the cord into the right slot. The monitor comes up and on it is a massive error message. When we'd restarted the computer, we'd corrupted the Windows install on the drive. Customer support apologized profusely for overlooking this potential error and sent me a guide to reinstalling Windows with a USB drive. Now this needs an empty flash drive to work, otherwise it'll just wipe the data off the flash drive. And the only flash drives available at the time were full of data. So first I had to transfer all the data off of the least full of these onto my dad's laptop, and this was working at a whopping 2 megabytes per second at its peak. Finally got that off, and I started using the Windows Media Creation tool to install a copy of Windows onto the USB drive. After waiting for 4 hours, as it was finalizing, something went horribly wrong in the flash drive. And the whole flash drive corrupted beyond usability. I still haven't gotten it working. So, after a long exchange with tech support, we decided our only options were to buy a new flash drive or send the drive back to them to fix it. Obviously, I didn't want to wait that long again, so I said, okay, we'll just go out, we'll buy a new flash drive, we'll get that going. So we bought a new flash drive Thursday morning, used it to download Windows onto that, and I installed Windows exactly as the guide had said. Another little bit of heavy foreshadowing for you. Here is an image of one step from this guide that was sent to me by tech support that I was following. Okay, with that in mind, I had several difficulties getting this process to work. For example, I accidentally accessed the BIOS instead of the boot list at one point and was really confused as to where I needed to boot my drive from the USB drive from. Oops. One of the most stressful things ever was with clearing off my C drive because there's a list of like 4 drives on there. Drive 0 this, drive 0 this, drive 0 this, and then drive 1. And I knew drive 1 was where all of my data was that I wanted to save. And drive 0 is the one I had to clear. I had to clear all 3 of those. Knowing that every time I clicked that button, if I accidentally selected drive 1, brief cut there was something going on in the background. Had to take care of that. Okay, where did I leave off? Something about clearing drives. Anyway, knowing that I was 1 click away from clearing my D drive and all of my data off if I accidentally selected the wrong one. So that was stressful. But everything seemed to go well. I installed a bunch of my old programs onto the PC, and I went to bed Thursday night thinking, and this was last Thursday, so 2 days ago. I went to bed that night, happy, thinking I finally had my computer back. Spoilers, I didn't. So when I woke up yesterday, I couldn't help but notice this little translucent overlay in the bottom right corner, prompting me to activate Windows. So I asked tech support, and he told me to run this digital license troubleshooter because that license should be built into the system. I'll just show you that line from the guide again. Select Windows 10 Pro. Pro. I am a home user. The license on this PC, I later learned, is a home license. And here, I had just installed Windows 10 Pro. So again, I had to plug in the flash drive, boot from it, clear my C drive again, and install Windows 10 Home. That finished installing late last night. There was a whole nother issue with the D drive then not showing up in File Explorer, but I fixed that. Just I had to assign it the letter D again. Apparently it had lost that at some point along the way. And yeah, finally, everything actually worked. Just after I turned in my final project for Chapter 9 of that dual credit course. Thank you for watching.